Today we'll find out what are the 5 easiest languages for you to learn. Let's go! Ja, vi älskar detta landet. That's exactly how the Norwegian national anthem starts, with the words, yes, we love this land, and why shouldn't you? It's a magical land with many amazing places, and most importantly, the language itself. It's just amazing. And if you speak a lit norsk, then visiting Norway is going to be an amazing experience for you. And on top of that, Norwegian is number 1 in the list of easiest languages to learn, and there are many reasons for that. If you study Norwegian, you will get 2 for the price of 1. Yes, in Norway there are actually 2 languages that are incredibly similar. They are called Nynorsk and Bokmål. Bokmål being the language that most of the population is speaking. Norwegian is an incredibly easy language to learn because you already know many words in it. Yes, Norwegian sounds like a weird mixture of German and English. Here is a little clip from the Speakly podcast that we did with Lindy Boats, where I give an example of this. We are finalizing a Norwegian course in Speakly, and we're doing studio sessions. And I was participating in sessions, and just listening to the sentences and stuff, and then understanding basically everything. I've never studied Norwegian. I was so surprised about this, and then realized that it's a weird mixture of English and German.
Yeah.
Jag växte upp in Australia. It's like, well, I grew up in Australia. It's like just a weird växte upp. What is that? Like, what is that?
Yeah.
So if you are reading Norwegian and you see words like soloppgang, which literally means sun up going, then you will understand those pretty much automatically. So all that can bring you to a moment when you are reading an article in Norwegian and you will see a sentence like, you can sit under the tre with your søster and read your bok. All these words that we are referring to are called cognates. It basically means that these are words that are similar in all kinds of languages. And there are a lot of them. For example, bok, tre, over, familie, søster, telefon, and lots more. Another reason why Norwegian is amazing to learn is that in its tenses you are actually just learning one form. So if you know other languages, then it might be a headache for you to memorize all these tenses in different forms that you have to use while speaking. But in Norwegian it's super simple. You just memorize one verb form. So to take it all together, in Norwegian this is så lett. Now, another reason to learn Norwegian is that for learning this wonderful language, you will get the awesome prize of understanding quite a bit of Swedish and Danish as well. So you will have the foundation of these languages in place. So for example, Norwegian people can understand written Danish pretty easily, and you could have the same benefit.
Du vill ju, alltså nu när du har lärt dig det, så jag tror att det är väldigt viktigt att hålla de här rutinerna.
Ja, exakt.
Och så tror jag det är med språk.
Our second easiest language also comes from Scandinavia, and all of these reasons we stated before related to Norwegian are also relevant in the case of the Swedish language. They all come from the same source. They have pretty much the same influences. So they have many of the grammar structures and the verb structures and stuff like that coming from the same place. So when we were looking into cognates related to Norwegian, the same applies to Swedish as well. There are many cognates in Swedish. The thing we were talking about with Norwegian, that verb tenses are incredibly easy to learn, that's the case with Swedish as well. You just have to memorize one verb form and it's pretty much done. You know the whole tense by heart. But there are always those little nuances that sometimes might be a little difficult as well. So in Swedish case, for example, you just have to accept that you will never know what is the article used before a noun. Is it en or is it ett? For example, you will say en bil, but you will say et hus. So you just have to learn these by heart. So according to the US Foreign Service Institute, Swedish and also Norwegian that we were analyzing before are in the group 1 of foreign languages, which means that they are the easiest to learn. So the institute projects that it takes around 600 hours to learn these languages to fluency. So as you know by now, probably in Speakly you can do this much faster. We see that you can get to a solid speaking level after 3.5 to 4 months of studies if you study every single day. By the way, if you're interested in learning Swedish, check out the Swedish content in the YouTube channel called French and Swedish. They are a friend of this channel and their videos are immensely fun to follow. So check it out. I've attached a link to the description of this video. So to summarize our Scandinavian part of the top 5 list of easiest languages to learn, Norway and Sweden are one of the best countries to live at. They both have one of the highest quality of life rankings in the world, and it's always very much needed that if you move to this country, then you would speak the local language as well. And as you saw, both of these languages are so easy to learn because their grammar system is easy, their verb tense system is super simple compared to other languages, and there are so many words in those languages that you already know.
Un espacio en donde hablaremos más tendidamente sobre diversos temas.
And we arrived to the third easiest language in our top 5 list, and this is Spanish. This should come as no surprise because Spanish has always been the go-to language to learn for English speakers because it's so widely used and it's so practical and it's so easy to learn. By the way, I did this video that I linked above where I discuss in more detail why Spanish is an easy language to learn, so check it out. But in general terms, Spanish is an easy language because it comes from Latin. It's a Romance language. It's related to languages like French, Italian, Portuguese, Romanian. And as was the case with the 2 first languages, Spanish also has an incredible amount of cognates, which means that you already understand bunch of words in Spanish, even if you have never learned it before. Basically, you can see it's so easy. So many words actually from the Spanish vocabulary are exactly the same. So just think of English and you will have the words that you need in Spanish. Obviously, it's not the case with all the words, but you get the point. So for example, correcto means correct. Delicioso means delicious. Pizza is pizza, and so forth. Spanish is also pretty much straightforward in its pronunciation. Spanish is a fairly simple language. It doesn't have so many crazy exceptions or letters that you don't even pronunciate, even though they are in the word. Why are they in the word? Yes, I'm looking at you, French, again. But obviously there are pronunciation rules that you have to cover, like double L becomes J, like in the word calle, for example. But you can get a hold of these pronunciation rules pretty fast because there are not many of them. Now, where Spanish is a little bit more difficult compared to the Scandinavian languages that we checked before is the verb system. And as in all Romance languages, even though they are super easy to learn, there are so many exceptions in verbs. And especially the words that are most used, like ser or estar or venir or ir, have the most exceptions. So you just have to memorize them by heart. But the logic of the verbs is pretty much similar to English, so it shouldn't be something that you can't conquer. And if we just take a look at how relevant the Spanish language is, based on some studies that I linked below, Spanish has around 450 million native speakers, plus the people who just speak it on a lower level as well. So you may have noticed that Spanish is fairly fast language if you just listen to it. And that's correct.
Todavía queda batalla por delante, eso está claro, y por eso Bruselas propone dar otro año más de margen para que los países europeos puedan endeudarse sin límites, para que no haya...
But it's super simple to understand because, as we were pointing out, the words pretty much look the same as you say them out loud. Another thing that we have found out in our research in Speakly is that in different languages there's a different number of adjectives and verbs that are used to signify the same thing. So for example, we have found out that Russian is an incredibly rich language from the point of view that you need to know 15 different adjectives for a single emotion, for example. And people are pretty actively using this wide array of different adjectives as well to, express their feelings, emotions, and so forth. That makes Russian an incredibly rich language. Now, I don't want to say that Spanish isn't rich. Spanish is a wonderfully rich language. It's amazing, but on a very practical level, it looks like, based on studies, that on a daily basis, people are using more words and sentences that are similar, that don't change so much. So let me give you an example. So for example, you would like to say the words shady, sketchy, unpleasant, ugly, displeasing. You could pretty much say this all in Spanish with the word feo. And even though some Spanish natives here in the comments, I'm pretty sure, will be writing a very long comment saying that please don't say that our language is not rich. Again, Spanish is a wonderfully rich language, but based on statistical analysis, we see that people are using less different words to express a similar thing, if it makes sense. Now, another reason why Spanish is wonderfully easy to learn is that the accent marks that you sometimes may see on top of letters actually help you out. They give you something useful to think about. Like, for example, if you see an accent on the letter E, like in the word llegue, for example, you will know that, oh, okay, this E is longer. Or if you see an accent on the letter A, like in the word Malaga, then you will know that it's Malaga, not Malaga or something else like that, because the A is longer. So next time when you are saying bad things about Spanish and saying that it's difficult to learn, just take a look at English. There is only one rule in English, that there are no rules. So just enjoy learning Spanish because it's wonderfully easy.
Terwijl ik dingen aan het kopen was, zodat jullie dus in het echt horen hoe dat ging. En helaas...
Now, Dutch is the next language in our list on place number 4, and obviously it's spoken as the national language in the Netherlands and also a portion of the population in Belgium. A really interesting thing about Dutch is that many words in Dutch are actually spelled exactly the same as they are in English. So if you read a newspaper article, for example, you will see that, oh, I understand quite many words. But be cautious because the pronunciation has been Dutchified, if that's a word. And you have to pronounce these kind of English words in a way that would sound Dutch. But as with all languages, there are false cognates as well. So false cognates are words that look like something in another foreign language but actually mean something else. So in Dutch, for example, you have the word wet, which actually means the law. So that makes Dutch one of the easiest languages to learn, and based on many studies, people in universities, when surveys are done, very often students say that that's the easiest language to learn, Dutch is, because the relevance cognates or similar words, as we already discussed, cognates are very widely used. So you will already have a head start if you start learning Dutch. And because I'm a history buff, I need to talk about the history a little bit as well. And it's very obvious because Dutch colonists were among the first to settle in America. And in reality, if we analyze dictionaries and languages, then we see that the words that come from Dutch actually make up a lot of English. Now, when I said previously that there are many words that are similar to English in Dutch, then you might have thought that, oh, that's because English has influenced Dutch in some ways. Then actually it's the other way around. It's Dutch who have inserted a lot of words into the English dictionary. It's the same with French, for example. You might think that, oh, English has influenced French. No, French has influenced English more so, and about 40% of the English vocabulary actually comes from French. So just to show you how similar these languages are, let me just show you a few sentences. Now you saw that I didn't pronounce these sentences with the video, and the reason is simple. I don't know how. I've never studied Dutch. I pretty much imagine how Dutch is pronounced, but I won't do it at the moment because I've never studied it. But I hope to do it one day when Dutch will be available in Speakly as well.
Vita a Roma, perché abbiamo qui una romana doc in carne ed ossa che ha vissuto tutta... Vabbè, no,
And number 5 in our list of easiest languages to learn is Italian. It's my focus in language studies at the moment because I'm studying Italian every single day with Speakly. And actually I'm in the middle of an Italian learning challenge where I study 30 days Italian every single day with Speakly and show my progress afterwards. And it's wonderful. Now, even though Italian isn't so big as French or Spanish, it still has 63 million native speakers, and it's a very relevant language. Now, why Italian is easy to learn actually lies in the same reasons as the previous languages. There seems to be a notion that the easiest languages are those that share a lot of similar words with other languages, like English, that we know are called cognates. Now, Italian has those a lot as well. So, for example, you would read a typical newspaper article in Italian and you might find words like concerto, poeta, problema, futuro, senso, finale, impossibile, eloquente, melodia. Another thing is that if you already have some level or you even speak other Romance languages like French or Spanish or Portuguese, it will be incredibly simple for you to learn Italian. That's my case as well because I can just pick up words and sentences here and there because they are very similar to other Romance languages. So here on the screen at the moment you can see the word to sing in different Romance languages and you can see that they're pretty similar. And here is the word to function or to work, and the case is the same here. They're super similar. But at the same time, as in all languages, there is a portion of words that are incredibly different. Like, for example, many people think that, oh, if I'm an Estonian, I will automatically speak Finnish. I don't, because the words are incredibly different. For example, the word hallitus means the government, but in Estonian, hallitus means that you have left something in your fridge for 3 months and you haven't moved it and now it's covered with stuff. So for Italian, we would have the word to ask, which is very similar in other Romance languages, but in Italian, it's very, very different. Sometimes people say that the Italian pronunciation is a little bit difficult to handle. But what I found is that the trick with Italian pronunciation is that you have to go to the limit so that you would feel a little bit ridiculous pronouncing the language and then it would sound the most natural. Now, I don't want to say that Italian sounds ridiculous. Not at all. Italian sounds wonderful. I love this language. But as a Scandinavian person, as myself, we express languages not so expressively, if I might say. So I need to go at lengths with my emotions to be in the proper place from where to say Italian out loud. Now, in this list, we had some incredibly beautiful languages. Many of them are already available in Speakly as well, and you can enjoy studying them. And others are actually in works in Speakly already. So until then, study all of these easy to learn languages, and I'll see you next time.